Makes more sense to just trade LeBron right now. Before I get right into that, I'm going to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you know all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Looking at the West and just looking at how the Western Conference is stacked, and you're looking at overall just what teams are where and how they're stacked up, the standings for the West aren't favorable for the Los Angeles Lakers to make it back to a potential place where we're looking at them as title contenders. Yes, they do have LeBron. Yes, they do have Luka. Yes, they do have DeAndre Ayton now. But you just got to ask yourself, how far will those big three take them? With no real bench, with no real depth, you just have to ask yourself, is this team the team that you're counting on that had the same problems last season before the trade? When you're looking at overall the Western Conference, and I'm just looking just in general, I'm looking at Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm looking at the Rockets. Yes, they did finish third. The Lakers did. I'm looking at an improved Denver Nuggets team. I'm looking at the Clippers. I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves. And also, you could throw the Dallas Mavericks in there because I don't know when Kyrie's coming back, but I do know they're going to have a boatload of other guys there that can play basketball. When you're thinking of the Lakers and you're thinking about having AR-15, you're thinking of having Rui, you're thinking about these five guys. Are these five guys better than the other teams that I've named that have five guys as well? How do the Lakers match up against Oklahoma City? With Kevin Durant now in Houston with that wealth of youth movement, and it's not just Kevin Durant having to lumber and carry everything. How does that work with Udoka? You know, he has a shooter that literally in a fourth quarter can take over of any game. How does Denver look with the retooling of Denver and them getting not only Bruce Brown and them getting Tim Hardaway Jr. and them getting all these other guys that they're bringing to the table? And you just ask yourself, does the Lakers roster have enough depth to even take on these teams? The answer is no. If we're being honest, no. The Lakers are going to be a tired group because they're going to have to be heavy stat-wise for their starters. Having Bronny James off the bench and Dalton Knecht is not going to be enough because LeBron's going to have to lower his numbers at some point in time going into this year. And you got to think, he's 40-plus years old. Can he continue and sustain 30-plus minutes a game a night? Can LeBron James consistently for this last season, let's just say it's his last, can he consistently for 40 minutes, 40 minutes, well, that's what it's going to end up looking like, average about 31 to 35 minutes a game. Because the Lakers aren't going to blow everybody out. They're not going to win every game by 10-plus points. So you got to be realistic about the situation. There was way too many games last season that LeBron was in those games late when they didn't need to have him in the game. J.J. Redick's spacing and minutes and things like that wasn't even. When LeBron goes out the game and then his team goes down by 5 or 6 and all of a sudden he has to come back in after 3 or 4 minutes. It makes more sense right now to get rid of LeBron, and you're looking at Cleveland being a possible destination. You're looking at Dallas being a possible destination. And you're also looking at Golden State being a possible destination. These are 3 places that he can go that if you infuse LeBron James, this gives them instantly a chance to become a title contender. When you're looking at Golden State, it's a little far-fetched, but you got to think, you still have Draymond there, you still have Steph Curry, you still have Jimmy Butler there. They have valuable assets. You can use Kuminga. You could trade draft picks. When you're looking at Cleveland, you have so much depth. You have so many draft picks. You can get rid of Darius Garland. You can get rid of Hunter. You have a number of players that you can get rid of in hopes of bringing back just LeBron. You don't have to break up your core to bring LeBron there. Same thing as Dallas. If Dallas wants to say, okay, I could see them getting rid of Max Christie. I could see them getting rid of one of their bigs. It could be Daniel Gafford, or it could be, it could be Lively. One of the two. You don't have to give up both, but you don't have to mortgage your future to get LeBron. You can match salary for salary, or you can get heavy with the draft picks. 2 first-rounders. They have expendable pieces in every place that I named, where you don't have to gut your team to bring LeBron there. So again, $50 million is a high price tag to match, but that's 1 or 2 players. Most of these players are making $20+ million a year, $30+ million a year. And you think about this, the evaluation of $10 billion. So teams are not looking at the Lakers and trying to help them in any way, shape, or form. They're saying, hey, look, you're worth a certain amount. You're going to give us a certain amount. Who's willing to take a pay cut to bring LeBron to where they're at? Not me. And most teams are not going to pay a high ransom knowing that LeBron has 1, maybe 2 years left. And you got to think, LeBron moves differently. He controls his contract situation. So therefore, I don't think you're going to get somebody that ponies up too much of a factor of giving you draft picks, young players, and guys right now. I think you could pick one if you're the Lakers. You can pick one. You can get the draft picks, you can get a player in return, or you can go for just favorable combination. But when you think about how special LeBron is, think about this. His second All-Pro. He was on a second-tier All-Pro this season. That puts him within the top 10 of the NBA players this season for being all basketball. When you're talking about the all-NBA team, you're talking about either you were good defensively and offensively, and you was a factor in not only turnovers or blocks or steals. You had a say-so in some parts of the game where you affected the offense, you affected the defense, you affected the actual equation of them being winners. It's hardly that you ever see guys that don't make a difference in the top 10 of the NBA, either first team, second team, or third team. Losers don't reside there. And when you look at the little chase that they had late in the season, and they were able to get all the way up to third, you can put that on LeBron's back. There was a series in time where he took the reins and literally they won 8 straight games where they had to chase people down. They had to do X, Y, Z because they didn't want bad playoff seeding. So with that being said, I respect LeBron James, but if the Lakers want an opportunity to win a title, you're going to have to get rid of LeBron. Now, you're not going to get rid of Luka because that's your future. You're not going to get rid of Aiden because it's a contract year. You know he's going to play motivated. So you got to think, are you going to give up AR-15 for what? Austin Reeves goes where? To get what back? You could trade Dalton Knecht because Dalton Knecht hasn't shown you that he's that guy yet. He hasn't shown you like, oh, I'm going to be the guy for the future. He's just a valuable, shiny draft piece right now. I doubt if they're going to trade Bronny because Bronny still hasn't developed yet. But when you're thinking about LeBron, and you're thinking about overall what he can bring you back as far as an overall piece, this is what they're going to need. They're going to need to rebuild that bench. With Luka as your starting piece, you're going to have a top-heavy team. You're going to have a team that can push and push. He's going to have to stay healthy. Coming into the NBA season in shape. Not having to hamper and limber over these little nagging injuries. And I feel like having LeBron there is going to help that. But if you got to trade LeBron, you got to do what you got to do, right? Right? You got to get rid of him, right? It's a tough one. It's a very tough one. It's so much that goes into winning an NBA title. It's the bench. It's the when you look at Oklahoma City Thunder and you look at how their bench contributed when the starters couldn't score, or vice versa, and how when coming off the bench, that breather oftentimes knocked down the lead so that the starters could come into a fresh lead. When you're looking at some of the key players off that championship roster, and you're looking and see, okay, well, who made a difference for them? It just wasn't SGA. It was Alex Caruso. It was Hartenstein. It was Chet Holmgren. It was the Williams brothers. It was Dort. They had several guys every night come up and make impacts. Not just offensively, but defensively as well. There was times where SGA couldn't score with his floater in the paint, or he couldn't do something off the backboard, and then boom, kick it out for him, timely three. They needed times that they needed stops, and who made them? Williams, Wiggins, Chet Holmgren. So you have to understand, if you're trying to win an NBA championship, you're going to have to move assets if you're the Lakers. Now, you moved your biggest asset that you could have moved, which was Anthony Davis. You got a generational talent in Luka, but you're going to have to start building around Luka right away. You're going to start to have to hitting the coals while they're hot, because Luka is no guarantee to stay in shape. He's no guarantee that he's going to stay in LA either. And you got to think about this. Who's going to want to play in LA if they don't have anybody? Nobody. You overpaid for DeAndre Ayton. You overpaid for him. So it's if the Lakers are smart, I would pick up the phone. I would call the Cavaliers first. I would see what all I can get back in return for LeBron, whether it be draft picks, whether it be actual collateral, whether it be a player and a pick, or player or two. That's what we need to be focused on. Again, everybody's got these sexy picks about who's going to make it to the NBA Finals and who's doing these things. I need to know that you can win the regular season with substance, not crawl across the finish line. So that's a part of it. And I feel like if they get LeBron James the opportunity to say, you know what, I want to be traded, they can actually get something for them and not have to gut the team. Can you imagine picturing Donovan Mitchell with LeBron James and Lonzo Ball? That lineup coming at you with a big lineup. And you got to think, for that lineup there, you can have Jared Allen coming off the bench. You could literally have Evan Mobley starting at the center, LeBron at the LeBron at the 4, Lonzo at the 1, Donovan Mitchell at the 2. The number of lineups you can run with Cleveland is ridiculous. And Cleveland has a lot of guys on their bench that are talented that are just not being used. Amani Bates, Javonte Green, Craig Porter Jr. They got a lot of young pieces. And at that point, you can get rid of Max too. There's a number of guys you can get rid of. But I think that overall they have to strike while the iron's hot. They have to understand that this offseason, you're going to see a lot of trades. You're going to see a lot of players swapping teams. I think the time is now. Rich Paul came out and said that statement. That statement was like, whoa. That let us know that the Lakers are no longer focused on LeBron. They're focused on Luka in the future. They're focused on doing what they got to do to appease that motherfucker. So when it's all said and done, the Lakers have the clock ticking. It may not be an on clock that we can see, but when he came out and made that statement, Rich Paul made that statement, it let me know all I need to know. LeBron wasn't taking a pay cut. He's not trying to help the Lakers do that, so they can trade him willingly and do other things. No. LeBron wants control. I don't blame him. But I think that ultimately what we have to realize is, do you want to win a championship or do you want to make money? That's what this is. That's what this ultimately is. Do you want to win a championship or what are we doing? That's essentially it, folks. And again, the teams that have the access to LeBron, right now, it may make more sense. It may make very much more sense to get rid of him now. Because while his value is high right now, while he's hot right now, I can't see him getting more hotter than he is right now. I can't. Yeah, the Lakers aren't going to win a chip with the current team constructed. No. Now, if they move pieces to put stuff around Luka, I can see them doing it. I can see them, but they're going to have to retool on the rebuild as they're growing. They can't break this team down and get rid of all the assets. They're going to have to rebuild on the fly. They're going to have to take some of the potential trade pieces, put them in the middle of the table and say, what can I get for this? What can I get for that? See what the value is on everything. But LeBron's going to be your biggest trade asset at this point. Because if you put Austin Reeves on a trade block, then what? What are you getting back for Austin Reeves? You know, so it's tough. It's tough. Very tough. So I think we're in for a great NBA season. It's going to be so many twists and turns. It's going to be so many things that go on. And you got to keep in mind, this is probably going to be the most up-in-the-air season that we've seen in the last 25 years. Because you don't know who's going to possibly win. You don't know who's up. You don't know who's healthy. You don't know what's going to be going on from that standpoint. You don't know. Remember last year when we thought Boston was going to win the title? It was because they were stacked as a team. We saw them through the regular season dominate and get bored. They were getting bored. They were playing anybody and just playing anybody. Up 20 randomly on different teams. Just seeing the game over by halftime. People being disappointed. Because the Celtics are resting their players because they're up by 15, 20. This year, with all the injuries, with all the stars going down, this year the landscape looks a lot different. And for LeBron James, you got to ask yourself, do you fit in with the current culture of what the Lakers are trying to do? Do you fit in the plans of what they're trying to do? Do you see this as your home for the next couple of years? If you do, that's on you. So, I don't know. But all of you LeBron fans, Laker fans, all you NBA fans, get in the comment section below. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus, and we'll see you on the very next episode.